So he lost 6 Marines at the cost of 8 SCVs. Oh, no. Wait. What? Okay, yes. He had a Hellion? I guess he did have that. I'd say that went better for Polt, marginally. Yes, he did more to the economy of, what am I trying to say? Give me a second. He sacrificed economy in order to get that attack. But I felt like, since he didn't lose that medevac, it was an acceptable trade. If he had lost the medevac, not acceptable. He also didn't lose any Hellions, so that's nice too. Not that Hellions are a particularly good unit, but they're, that gives a lot of map control.
Jeez, how is Bomber going to contend with that? I mean, what is that, 6 white squares? No, well, he has 5, and even in the odds.
And this is TVT, where we sit here and wait for engagements, because everything is so similar and figured out in this matchup, for a mirror matchup, I should say, that you're just sort of like, I mean, I explained to you how you would identify the difference between the 2 openings when you're scouting. You just look for gas. You look for tech add-ons. Are there tech add-ons? No tech add-ons. Only 1 gas, so it must be Hellion medevac.
I can tell this is your least favorite matchup. Best.
I mean, I do like watching Polt and Bomber, particularly against each other, because for a TVT, they are interesting. But there's just so much dead space.
Yeah.
I will note that Polt has decided to go mech as his transition, or some form thereof. So he's pretty heavy on his Hellion count. And it might be mech on mech, actually. So, generally speaking, the meching player wants to be aggressive after they get blue flame. So they want to be aggressive until there are 3 siege tanks, then they stop being aggressive. Then they get blue flame, then they're aggressive again until until there's like reason not to be. So there's windows for the meching player, but most of the meching player's objective is just to get the higher siege tank count. As it is, this is going to be irrelevant, as both players are meching. We're gonna see some Hellbat drops from Bomber, because Bomber likes dropping, and yeah. The Polt Viking is going to be a Polt Viking and deter this. You can do this as a Zerg or Protoss player. If you're a Zerg, you can use Corruptors or Mutas, it really doesn't matter which. You'll probably want like 5 Mutas instead of 2 Corruptors, because well, essentially Muta is more useful. As a Protoss, you just use 2 Phoenixes. Very simple. You don't really want to use the Void Rays as they won't deal with the prismatic alignment, and they're not an anti-air unit. See? Production.
Fair point. So what's your point? Spike is it a flame war?
Huh?
What's your point in Spike? Is it a flame war?
Perhaps, they should start using a scorched earth policy.
Burn. Someday I will be killed for not choosing this, and I shall laugh.
Anyways, Pult does have Marauders in his composition. That's probably to deal with the Hellbats of Bomber. He's not really going to use that for the siege tanks. I mean, yes, it will help, but it's not going to be his unit of choice. Right, anything that shoots at it is good, right? It's a lot of white squares.
Really strong composition here. I definitely think white squares aren't that creative, though.
What do you mean by that?
Production method.
Okay. Missile turrets are going down for Bomber, so he doesn't want to be dropped. Apparently, someone really wanted to check out that white square. Ooh, going the wrong way, but Bolt. You should have just kept going. Instead of running yourself back through all that heat. He will set up nicely. This Viking count is very important. Basically, since he has minimal Marines, he needs a lot of anti-air in the source of Vikings instead. So Pult is actually mixing his bio and mech style, and it's actually, this is not a bad composition. It's very unusual to see this, and I think it has I don't see any major flaws with it, though. He's actually won the air battle, so this is, I kind of like this as a good response to a meching opponent. I don't know if I'd recommend this against a bio player, because you just don't need all these Vikings. Well, I guess against the bio player you just wouldn't have as many Vikings, you would just build more Marauders. His Viking count has been reset, so that's gonna hurt. He really needs to get that up again, and somehow outproduces opponent's Viking. That is an issue. If you lose all your Vikings, then you can't outproduce you can't catch up. Whereas a bio player can catch up with the Marines, in theory. But with this, assuming you guys have the exact same number of starports, you're not going to be able to. He's actually in trouble as these have switched back to Hellion mode and they're giving chase. He's probably going to go up at the top of this ramp and just stay here and engage. Okay, well, Bomber knows that and is not going to engage that. He's not that ambitious. He actually realizes that the army is completely out of position now, so he's gonna just go and attack. There are siege tanks back here. This is not looking good for Polt. His army is not going to be able to hold this, regardless of what Bomber decides to do. Oh, I missed that. Battle cruisers are out. That will definitely change things. There are some Vikings for Holt, but I feel that the Viking count from... That's not very many Vikings anymore. So Bomber is going to lose the air battle and win the battle on the ground. So then the question becomes, can Bomber do enough damage before Polt stabilizes? MMA versus Yoda had a similar effect to this, with the bio force from Bomber or from Polt joining up with these battle cruisers. That's definitely adding a lot more DPS. But actually, I think Bomber will be okay because he's cleared 2 battle cruisers. There's one left, and I mean, one battle cruiser isn't a terrible threat. I mean, yes, it's definitely something, but because now Polt has to go back into Viking production since he lost all his Vikings earlier and is not trying to compete in Marines because of the Hellbats. Wow, that is a lot of bases for Polt. He actually did get a good number of Marines back out. I guess he's more concerned about dealing with about protecting his battle cruiser than he is about dealing with the Hellbats, and that's perfectly understandable given the circumstance. He should be able